Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got something really exciting to share with you guys. So, CRKT contacted me and said, hey, do you want to look at one of our new models? They gave me some information, and I was like, yeah, sure, it looks really cool. And, I had skimmed over it, thinking this actually looks really neat. Then today, when this arrived, I looked back in the information and saw who they collaborated with. Saw who's manufacturing it and thought, oh my goodness, this is wonderful. This is the kind of thing that gives me chills. I'm really excited to share this one with you guys. I think they plan to release this on September 12th. I don't know when you're watching this. It kind of just depends, and maybe they'll change the release date. In any case, any and all information that I can provide will be linked in the description if I'm able to provide any. Thank you so much to CRKT for sending this in for me to take a look at. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. I have not actually opened this yet, but I do know what's in here. So this model is called the Redemption, designed by Ken Onion, made in the USA by Hogue Knives. So if you're not familiar, right, a lot of people kind of like put a specific price parameter on CRKT. When they're being manufactured by Hogue, that parameter changes, right? We have to keep that in mind. This is being made by Hogue in the USA. If you don't know who Hogue is, familiarize yourself. They make super high quality products. Some of the very best USA made products in the knife world, in my opinion. CBN MagnaCut with G10 scales. Ambidextrous crossbar lock. Quite the hefty, there's some heavy hitters there. Moment of truth though, let's get the thing out. It's not small. Oh man, let's go. What do we got? Oh boy. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm a huge fan of the closed aspect. Look at this, how they have that laid in there. Man. So how do we wait a second. How do you actuate this? Hold on, I better brace myself. Oh wait. Is it a gravity knife? Wow, look at this. Oh boy, that's so interesting that they're just using... Oh, but it works. There's so much blade. There's so much blade that this actually works. Can you do it easily with one? You could probably do it with your index finger. I've been saying, man, hold on. Let's take a look at this. So obviously it's not going to be sharpened on both sides. And people say, obviously, why not? Well, because you don't want to be able to touch the thing on either side, right? In the closed position, this is a little bit close to the top, especially up here where there's a swell. It would be kind of dangerous to sharpen it on both sides. I do love designs where the blade, so let me say this. I got a bunch of things I want to say. Right off the bat, the quality is immediately indicative of Hogue. This is absolutely built to the same standards that every other Hogue knife that I've ever handled is built to. Hogue is also doing, to my knowledge, a very good heat treat on MagnaCut, which is really cool. Stonewashed MagnaCut, then we have this, it looks like, is it a true bolster? Yeah, because we have the steel underneath. So I'm thinking aluminum bolster and then G10, little piece of aluminum laid in there. We have a beautiful pocket clip recessed into the G10. We have a filler tab over here that I almost didn't even see, because it's the same color as the G10, obviously. But this means that you can mount the clip on either side for a left-handed or right-handed carry. It's weird. It's weird not having a thumb stud deployer, but I mean, it's like, how would they do this? Outside of like making it a weird axis lock flipper, right? If the idea was for the blade to disappear entirely into the handle, then there's not really a way for them to add any type of deployment mechanism outside of doing, again, like a really weird front flipper. But you don't have the same type of detent, right? And you have you have the axis bar acting, or the tension off the axis bar contacting the rounded tang of the blade. You have that acting as, I guess, detent. Perfect centering too, really nice. But we have that acting as the detent here. So, you know, doing a thumb stud usually works. Doing a flipper have we had flipper axis locks in the past? I honestly can't. I'm sure we have, but doing a front flipper would be really weird because you don't have the same type of leverage or the same type of brake, right? So my thumb is like really wanting to do the thumb stud deployment. I think that this, utilizing the axis lock, whether you do it, you know, with one finger or both, I like to do both because I don't like to like put excess wear on one omega spring over the other. I think that that's going to bother some people, and other people are going to be totally okay with it. The other thing is do we classify this as a gravity knife because of how that works? I don't know. I do like that this is not small. This is so weird. Hold on, let's measure it. Not a small knife. Yeah, that's a 9-inch knife. 9 inches or maybe a hair longer. Blade length is 4 inches on the dot. Cutting edge is about 3.75. Yeah, this definitely has Hogue. I'm really glad that they, yeah. I'm taking a look at the bevel. It gets a little bit thinner down here. This side looks good. Everything else, though, and I really wish that they had some sort of, I mean, I don't know how they do it, though. That's the thing. I mean, like, the way that this just ends right here is a little bit quirky, but I don't know how they do it. You know, that's the thing. A little bit of stick there. I wonder if that was my fault. I see me going for the thumb stud that's non-existent. No stick there. A little tiny bit here and there. Feels like, it does feel like a Hogue, though. Okay, so the inside, it does have a nested steel liner all the way down. And it's been milled out for weight reduction. I'm going to guess that this thing probably still comes in at, let's see. So weird, man. How's the lockout? Perfect. No movement. Up, down, left, or right. Absolutely perfect. Weight is, okay, 4.8 ounces. It's honestly, I thought it was going to come in over 5 ounces. Obviously, you're not going to get the best cutting performance out of the MagnaCut here, and it's mainly due to geometry. I fully trust Hogue to get the heat treat correct on MagnaCut, but you have what looks like, let's measure the blade stock thickness here real quick. 140, 135. Whoa, almost 150 thousandths there. So you have that running down, I mean, maximum, it starts to taper about right here towards the tip. But this, and this is tapering down to not a super thin edge, right? So slicing out of the box, honestly, Hogue does a good factory edge. I mean, here's what you're looking at here. Slight lifting, but no problem biting into it, right? It's not going to be the most efficient cutter, but I mean, it'll be good for poking. The other thing you'd have to be cognizant of is transitioning from the bolster area directly to the blade, because there is no indication except for maybe that little slot right there that you're about to run your finger up on the blade. But that's just part of the design. So this was all intentional, right? The other thing that probably could have, I'll tell you what, I've decided how I feel about this. It's fine, and this works, like manipulating it with just the, you can also just sort of whip it out, right? I mean, there's not a little bit of lock stick there. So the harder you whip it out, definitely more lock stick. It's obviously not difficult to deploy, just like pulling the axis bar. You can do that with pretty much any axis lock knife. Most people will prefer to use a thumb stud, though. I would have preferred, where would they put this? Probably a slight, like, do more of a bayonet instead of a dagger grind, right? Like a higher bayonet. And then this area right, boy, it'd almost have to be like right here. Cut out right here, put the thumb stud in there. And I think then you'd still have the overall shape of everything. This is just, I'm not saying I'm a better designer than Ken Onion, right? I'm just saying, like, as a consumer, reviewer, you know, collector, etc., professional knife fidgeter, I think a flat right here and then a space there. You know, it's that the problem is like getting it here because they'd have to take away here. I'm trying to think of where they'd put the furthest back they could get it to still have this all make sense and not have it touch the frame, unless they wanted it to be like a stop out here, but probably not. To keep the frame looking the same, you're gonna have to put it about right there. So you'd be cut out somewhere in here and then use the thumb stud. And you still would have kept everything. I still think this is cool, and it is different from, you know, what we generally see. This is a USA made product. It's built by Hogue. I know the MSRP is high, but that's like every time. They told me what the MSRP is. I don't know what the street price is going to be. And when I say street price, a lot of people, if you're just like rushing to the CRKT website and you look at the MSRP and you're like, oh my God, overpriced. Listen, the MSRP is never what you end up spending. That's manufacturer's suggested retail price. That's never what we actually pay. We pay whatever it ends up being on the retail websites. Now, you know, if they run similar to other USA Hogues that are, I mean, we have to, you know, again, this is a larger knife. There's a little bit more going on here, right? It's in MagnaCut. So I got an idea of kind of what I expect it to be. If it lands in that zone, it'll be okay. You're still going to have goofballs saying, I'd never pay that much for a CRKT, completely and totally ignoring the fact that this is manufactured by Hogue, right? Which we have to, again, that has to be part of the equation. But depending on what they want for this, I think a lot of people might really like it. If you need a deployment mechanism and you don't consider the axis lock to count as a deployment mechanism, then you might not like this, right? But the benefits here are the axis lock is ambi, right? It's a strong lock. It's made by Hogue, so it's going to work. MagnaCut being heat treated by Hogue. Overall quality, Hogue quality, right? Everything's ambidextrous. So there's a lot of benefits here. This is going to be a knife that is definitely for some people and definitely not for other people, you know, whereas, you know, we could look at something like the CGRV Pyrite and say that's made for most people, right? This is obviously going to be made for specific people. It is interesting. It's certainly not something that I expected to see come out of CRKT and Hogue. That's not, I just didn't expect to see that at all. So yeah, pretty cool. One of the more interesting things that's come across my table here in recent months. Really appreciate CRKT sending it in. Like I said, I'll link stuff down below. I need to spend some time with this before I do a full comprehensive review. This is not a review. This is just me reacting to it right out of the box. So once I've got that put together, I'll present it to you guys in the form of a review. That's going to be pretty much it for today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe to get there, because there's definitely a more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.